Welcome, everyone, to Above and Beyond Affiliate Marketing. I am your host, Jason Ryland. And today, we're going to go into some interesting things about failures. We're actually going to discuss 7 powerful ways to bounce back from failure. And I also want to discuss that this is kind of our intro to the journey, right? So we're going to have another 7-part series to all this. This is just going to be starting the intro, kind of go over what we're going to talk about, and then join us on this journey for this series. Because if you're going to you're going to love this, you're going to like this, and please share this with others and other like-minded individuals, because they're going to thank you for it, because it's going to give them the approach that they'll need and the mindset to understand that failure is just a natural part of the landscape of affiliate marketing. Okay, let's dive right in. Now, I'm going to talk about one of my favorite, I would say he's one of my mentors, one of my favorite best-selling, New York Times best-selling authors, entrepreneur. He's a wonderful businessman, and you've heard of him, is Robert Kiyosaki. Now, he's always said, winners are not afraid of losing, but losers are. Failure is part of the process of success. People who avoid failure also avoid success. That's by Robert Kiyosaki. That is more truer words I've ever said, okay? Because failure comes in many shapes and forms. It could be failing in exam if you're in school. It could be losing your business, not getting the promotion you were expecting, or a painful marital breakup or strife, something that's happened in your relationship that you could consider a failure. But failure is also relative, because for one person, a stern reprimand from a boss is an embarrassing failure. I've been there. That's probably why I don't have a boss today. I couldn't stand it when they would reprimand me for something that I would do that I thought that I was a failure for, and it's more than just an embarrassment, right? Kind of maybe you carry that on into your daily life and the other things, even into your home. But for this instance, I would like to, I kind of squirm when I think of shame, because shame, when you get embarrassed in those situations and that shame ends up being frustration and it'll last for days, if you don't handle it, and you will relive that moment over and over and over. And if you are one of those people who really quickly want to race to fix the mistake and regain the approval, either for a boss or a spouse or what have you, you find yourself in a different dilemma, right? Because you kind of need to sit back, evaluate, and then have a strategy moving forward. Because whereas one person sees losing their job as a failure, it's really not, but let's go that route. So if one person is losing their job and they think that is a failure, and another person, and all it's saying, oh, it's just a minor setback, I'll get through this. Well, it you see the kind of the concept of how their positive attitude is towards that. You hear me talk about that a lot. If you listen to my other series, that it really depends on the individual's personal definition of failure and their failure scale. Write that down, because there's a failure scale. Because, like me, if I would fail at an ad that I put out and I had felt like, man, I could have totally did that differently. Did I fail? No. I learned a different way of actually tweaking that ad and doing something that would approach my audience better, okay? So, but in an ideal world, everyone uses the word failure, but instead, I want you to start thinking this as just an obstacle. Okay, it just got in your way, and what can we do with an obstacle if it's in your way? You can go around it, under it, over it, whatever you need to do. It's just a little setback, but realistically, that doesn't even happen, right? Because we have to have that mindset. And anyone who tells you that they haven't experienced failure is lying to your face. Okay, let's get real about that. It's like death and taxes. The failure is an inevitable part of life, and it doesn't happen once. It'll happen, and it'll happen, and it'll happen over and over and over again. It's what you do with that makes the difference. Because we're likely to experience many, many failures on a varying magnitude throughout our lifetime. It's always painful, sometimes shameful, it gets frustrating, and sometimes it can be just devastating, right? Hear those words. But that's why I have this show, is to help you get beyond that. And I'm going to share with you I've done my research, and I want to share you some interesting facts about failure that I've done. Okay, this has also been a personal journey of mine. Okay, so I've done some research studies that have done failure and its effect on individuals, and some of the findings that I've done my research on, it says that failure decreases a person's confidence in their skills and abilities, and they equate failure to inferiority. Okay, so then that's where that whole inferiority complex comes. I'm one, guys. You know that I speak the truth on this. I do that in my life. I do that with you guys. I also have that same thing that I have, that I sometimes get into that inferiority, like I'm not good enough, and that's why things happen in my life, and I have to tell myself a different story. Okay, because failure makes, if you have an ultimate goal that you're trying to reach, and you have that failure, that obstacle, that thing that got in your way, it'll make it look in just that moment that what you're trying to attain is unattainable. It's not, you can't get to your ultimate goal because of this mistake. So this is the reason why many people change, and they just midway, they're going through something, they want something to succeed, they want their relationships to work, and they get this obstacle, and then they just give up. I'm telling you, don't give up, because you have to believe, just because you failed, or you perceived, let's be careful with that word, you perceived this as a failure, that you're like, oh, it's just going to continue to happen. This is going to be a continual thing going on and on and on, and this is an obstacle that's going to just keep slapping me in the face. And that's why you give up, right? You have a goal, you want to reach it, and then all of a sudden you're going to say, oh, well, this happened. What's to say it's going to not happen again? And over and over and over again. That's where you kind of have to take an extreme action at that point. And I tell you, it's irrational fear of this failure that is caused just by one hiccup, mistake, or setback, that obstacle. You have to take a step back, because you will have that irrational fear. I know I have. And you'll have that extreme sense that this is going to continue to happen. But you have to make sure that you got to go from being like helpless and hopeless, and you have to overcome that, because not everybody can do that. I know it's hard, and some people become so overwhelmed with despair that they literally feel like their lives have come to an end. And we're going to conquer this. I know this is just a 7-part episode, but this hopefully will give you some of the understanding how you perceive and deal with failure, that it is the first step to bouncing back more effectively, okay? It's the mindset, and you need to identify where you are and whether you have that inside you to approach it, that mentality, or do you have an avoidant mentality, okay? So, but I don't want you guys to despair. These are some of my findings, and they are negative findings. You know, it's hard to have a positive spin on that, but knowing you guys know me, I've tried to find a positive side to this, and I have done my further research had also shown that those who are hunger for the success of their goal, I don't care if it's the goal of your relationship, your business, your with your community, whatever that goal is, if you have that hunger and you're willing to go that extra mile, you will always bounce back from failure. You'll always quickly, and you'll do it just spectacular. You will do what it is to do, and this is why what this episode is all about. Passionate about this. Because why do we take failure so hard? Because it's the one reason it's us. We take it on so personally. And have you ever known anyone who intentionally set themselves up to fail? Oh yes, it happens, and it also happens to be our fault. Okay, but never our fault by intention. Okay, mistakes happen. These perceived failures happen. It's getting around that you need to have that hunger for success, because the key to bouncing back from failure is to really not to take it personally. Yes, even in a relationship and things happen, you're like, how do you not take that personally, Jay? That's real. That happened. You're like, okay, but where's the goal? What's your goal? Where's the success in this? You know, and if you're willing to try, and if you're willing to put forth the effort and put all that other stuff aside, you will be able to literally tackle anything. So you're gonna have through this episode, you're gonna learn to look at it objectively. You're gonna pick yourself up, and you're going to dust yourself off, and you're going to put it behind you. Because success doesn't put failure in front of itself. Never has, never will. I have some powerful ways to help develop that neutral, objective mindset to be able to honestly assess failure, to learn the lessons you need, and to move on to bigger and better successes. Now, I'm going to wrap this episode up here, because tomorrow we're going to get into, again, what I talked about, approach versus the avoidant mentality, and we're going to figure out which one you are. Now, is this all what it takes? I'd like to say yes. You might need more. You might be going through something else. But I have 7 ways, and I believe that you're only 7 steps away from developing that amazing resilience and grit in the face of any failure. Thank you all for listening. I also want to let you guys know that those who have purchased my membership program, it's going very well. My students are amazing and wonderful people. And they're continuing the discussion. They're actually going back on the podcast. Sometimes the stuff that as you're building a business, because as my membership site goes, I help you build a 6-figure business. I will do that, and I'll give you the steps to that success too. But all this other stuff, these are keys. to show you what it takes to live your life the way you want it. Okay, I'm going to wrap that up. Thank you, everyone, for listening. May you forever be richer. Make sure you check us out on Facebook at Ryland Media Group. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. We're all over the place. We're on so many different wherever you get your favorite podcast, whether it's Anchor, if it's on iTunes, wherever you love getting your podcast, look me up. It's under Ryland Media Group. And you guys take care. God bless to everyone. Have a good night.